Welcome back to CTN. I'm your host, Robert Van Sluten. Let's get started. As you've noted, when you create an iOS project, you get several templates you can select from. So far, the only one we've made use of is the single view application. There is an empty application which actually creates an app without a view controller and without a storyboard. It basically just has a application delegate, the settings file, the main.m. It's as simple as you possibly can get. You can create any of these others from that. However, we're not going to cover it, or at least not for quite a while. We may do so later when we have a better understanding of view controllers and views. The OpenGL game and the SpriteKit game are heavily graphics intensive and are really beyond the scope of CTN. So we're not going to be talking about those. The page-based application is relatively simple. I will give you a simple demo of that, but we're not going to talk about that one either. The ones we are going to focus on after we get a clearer handle on views and view controllers, which we're going to do for the next few episodes, are the utility application, the tab bar application, and the master detail application. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the simulator where I've created some apps, just simply using the template without actually making any additions. And I'm going to run a few demos. I have the three applications of interest: utility, tabbed, and master detail, loaded in the simulator. They're all universal applications, and they were all created simply by using the template. No additions have been made. Let's start by looking at the utility app. You've seen this type of thing for stocks, for instance. There's information and there's the ability to be able to do some modifications. Now these are separate view controllers. We're now in a realm where there's multiple view controllers tied to obviously different views. We'll go to Home. We'll take a look at the tabbed. You see these quite a bit where there's a tab bar on the bottom and you can bring up different aspects of the application. And these are just different text. Once again, separate view controllers, separate views. Go back to Home. Let's take a look at master detail. Now on the iPhone, what you get is a list. Let's say I edit the list. I add an item. I'm done. If I select that, I'll go to details for that item, and I can go back. That's master detail. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the next slide and take a look at these again in the iPad simulator. I'm now in the iPad simulator. Let's take a look at the utility application. The info button is now up here. And instead of an animation where it flips into a different screen, I get a small view here, which is actually a separate view controller, referred to as a popover. If I rotate this, there's no difference. I'm not going to look at tab-based because the appearance is exactly the same. Let's take a look at master detail. We have a master button which brings up a list on the left-hand side. I can simply make that go away by picking over on the detail pane. If I rotate this, because I have more space, I always get the master list on the left-hand side. That is quite different than the iPhone interface. Let's go to the next slide and we're going to have a little bit of fun. Let's take a look at the three types of applications that I had indicated we wouldn't be covering in CTN. However, they're worth just running. Let's take a look at OpenGL. What OpenGL is a 3D graphics framework that allows you to do this type of thing. Usually it's much more sophisticated than just a bunch of rotating cubes. The way this works is it's using what is referred to in mathematics as an affine transformation, which can move things in 3D space graphically, and what it's moving is polygons. That's as much as I'm going to say about this. Maybe someday I'll put together a podcast on the subject. Let's move on to Sprite. Now, I haven't researched this one. I'm assuming that this is nothing more than 2D transformations, but I really don't know. Interesting, though. Last but not least, page-based. We have a book. Kind of quaint. Let's briefly go over to Xcode. What I have on the screen is the utility application we just looked at, and I have the iPhone storyboard selected. What is shown is the two view controllers that are in the application, a relationship between them. It's referred to as a segue. And the arrow over on the left-hand side is an indication of which view controller is loaded when the application starts. My main point is that the entire user interface is designed in the storyboard. The view controllers and all the associated subviews that are tied to that view controller. In the next several episodes of CTN, we're going to start looking at more specifics of view controllers and views. And then we're going to come back to these templates and start understanding how they actually work and how they can be extended. Let's close out. Thanks for watching.